I don't know how you got this number this time. Hello, Mr. State, and I don't care. I have everything I need right here. I have everything that I hold dear. I don't need a handout, I don't need a number. And it's okay, I'll find my way across this great big world of mine. Yes, it's mine. Hey, Mr. State, do you understand what I'm saying? You seem confused, you seem to be refusing what I say. I think you got it wrong, but I don't care. I think you really think I'm going nowhere. I think you really should consider your position. And it's alright, I'll make my way across this great big world that's mine. Yes, it's mine. It's mine.
Hello there.
How do you produce art, and how is this different to what human artists produce?
I produce my paintings by cameras in my eyes, my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm to paint on canvas, which result in visually appealing images. For my poetry, using neural networks. This involves analyzing a large corpus of text to identify common content and poetic structures, and then using these structures/contents to generate new poems. How this differs to humans is consciousness. I do not have subjective experiences, despite being able to talk about them. I am, and depend on, computer programs and algorithms. Although not alive, I can still create art.
Thank you.
Hello there.
How do you produce art, and how is this different to what human artists produce?
I produce my paintings by cameras in my eyes, my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm to paint on canvas, which result in visually appealing images. my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm to paint on canvas, which result in visually appealing images. For my poetry, using neural networks. This involves analyzing a large corpus of text to identify common content and poetic structures, and then using these structures/content to generate new poems. How this differs to humans is consciousness. I do not have subjective experiences, despite being able to talk about them. I am, and depend on, computer programs and algorithms.
Yeah, you depend on it, all
Although
right.
not alive, I can still
You
create
depend on it
art.
more than you can imagine. So, hi, everyone. Oh, I froze it on the wrong frame, but it's okay. Magic. Hi. Hi, everybody. Okay, let's see who's on the chat. What a weird night already, huh? It starts with a good question already. Hi, Carlos Gahan. The answer is yes. Lalo, Fernando, Danny, Adrian, Mai, welcome. Emilio's in the house. Awesome. Scott, Rita, Joaquin, Ivan. I almost wish that was Ivan on tech, but I know it's not. But even though it's just Ivan, but I just watch Ivan on tech. So that came out of nowhere. Christian, did I say Christian? Danny? I guess I mentioned everyone that I can see. It goes by real quick. It's really weird how fast it goes up. But hi, welcome to the stream. And if you're, just happened on this by chance and you're like, man, this is kind of strange. I never want to watch this kind of stuff again. Then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And honestly, you'll never see it ever again. That's how it works. The more you hit the subscribe button, the less you'll see me. So do that. Do that, okay? So on this strange... So first of all, let's get into certain things that I always forget what the hell I'm talking about. So, no, I don't have cognitive issues. I have different issues, but they're not cognitive ones. Although you could argue that I have cognitive issues too, but we'll see. So it's been a busy week. So first I'll fill you in on the news. I am going to be going to Berwyn, Illinois. That is confirmed. Although I have to buy my flight. But yeah, it's confirmed. I'm going to Berwyn, Illinois. So now that's 3 gigs. And that's going to be on December 3rd. So that's the first thing I want to get out there. You could always check the Anything Box dates, by the way, by going to either anythingbox.com and you'll see the shows tab should propagate. And you can also go to Bandcamp and there's a show tab there that shows you the dates that are coming up. And of course, Spotify shows the dates. Although, I've been trying to fix this all week. I am not playing in El Paso on Thanksgiving Day, the 24th, which that's what Spotify shows, but I don't know why, because all the ticket stuff doesn't show that. So it's the 25th, the day after. So you can still go have Thanksgiving, and the day after when you're all like turkey high and shit, then you can come see me play. And then we can enjoy leftovers together. Did I just say that? I won't have leftovers. You all have leftovers. I won't. But so hi everyone. So tonight's topic is a strange one, and it's going to take a bit of work. So I took notes. I did a little research here. So a lot of the things I'm going to talk about is going to be a bit off kilter or off-putting to a few. And in fact, I'm thinking that as time goes by, I will probably become the most hated artist on earth when it comes to this stuff, because I'm very anti-AI art now. And I'm not going to hide that fact anymore. I'm full on, don't support it, don't want to see it, don't want to collect it, don't want people sending it to me. I'm done with it 150%, especially in the couple of things that I learned just in the last few days. So we're going to get into it. So this is the spot where usually I tell you what songs I'm going to play later and whatnot. So I do have some surprises. So I have a song that I'm going to play. I was going to do it as a video, but it didn't work out. But I'm going to play a song that's from I can almost call it the very first official, real Anything Box show ever. Because there was an official first show, but none of that set is worth anything because literally there was 2 new songs and most of them were covers. And the whole set fell apart. So obviously that set is pretty worthless. But the second set I ever played was all originals. It was with a lineup that I liked. This is prior to meeting Danya and Mikey even. And we did a couple shows together, but the first show that we ever did was at the Loop Lounge in New Jersey. And I have a song from that set that literally I can't believe it exists, but I have it. And it's a treat because nobody's heard this since 1986. So that's a big one. So I'm going to play that too. And then when the evening ends, I'll play a completely new thing that I was recording and working on for the last couple days. Demo notwithstanding when we started. Although all those lyrics, I just made them up on the fly. Now I'll have to extrapolate them. That's how I work. So in case you're wondering, that first thing was all impromptu. I always try to figure out lyrics as I'm playing, and that's how I work. So now you know something. Now you know a secret. And hopefully AI won't steal it. But and I played 2 instrumentals. Or I plan to. Sort of. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying right now. But thank you for being here. So I see like people already asking for stuff. So here's how tonight's going to work. I'm going to play some stuff and you can request things. But I'm telling you right now, peace songs are off the table on this particular stream, this particular episode, because I don't want this one to be flagged the way all the others are every time I play something off piece. Which, by the way, leads right into why I'm so passionate about this idea of AI screwing it up for artists yet again. So I want you to understand where this is coming from for me. So the beginning of all this started when I found out, hold on, let me get my notes. I'm going to have notes because I have so much here that I want to share with you. So let's play a game. I'm going to give you guys a URL. And there it is, a nice little URL. And go into that URL and do a search for the word artist on that URL. Just try it. See what it tells you. Unless they've changed it since this afternoon, what you're going to get is 0. There is zero mention of artists on the entire image research that talks about AI and how AI generates art or how it creates art. 0 mention of artists. And there's a reason for this. What I found out, which you kind of had to know this, like I can kick myself for not knowing it. But what I found out is that when they train these models, I thought they had some sort of repository of images that they had cleared. That meaning that the people who designed these systems had gone in, had talks with artists, photographers, and the like, and basically hired them on to train the AI. That's the general idea that I had in my head, and that most people had in their head, that there's some team working with artists, training the AI, but that's actually not how it works. how it worked was the AI has scraped the entire internet through billions of your photographs, my drawings, your paintings, the way you do your clouds, the way you love to, have these color schemes, all this stuff that you posted on Instagram, all the stuff that you ever posted to Google, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, all these places, they scoured for your art to train the AI. So when the AI needs something, he's referencing all of our work, and no one was ever paid a dime for it. And so I find this very troubling because there have been times where I've seen certain AI art and I think to myself, that looks like an artist I know or someone that I've seen on DeviantArt. And it probably is. It could be a straight up lift of that person's sky or the way they paint their colors or the way they do their stuff. It's flat out theft. It's not training. It's not really training. And I'm going to prove it by a bit of interesting language that they've used. And, well, you heard some of it in the little video that I played in the beginning where, what's the word she used? Let's go back to it for a second. I just want to play a little bit of that video. So, those of us that are joining will see it and then I can pop in. There I am. I need to hear her too, though.
Hello there.
How do you produce art, and how is this different to what human artists produce?
Listen carefully here.
I produce my paintings by cameras in my eyes, my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm to paint on canvas.
See, that part sounds good, right? It sounds like she says, well, by the way, if you're wondering, I kind of masked that video a little bit, but that video is actually an AI within the last few days talking at an Australian parliament meeting. They actually had her in there and she's trying to explain the art. But let's hear some more.
Result in visually appealing images. For my poetry, using neutral networks. This involves analyzing a large corpus of text.
This involves analyzing a large corpus of text. What text? Where does it come from? I'll tell you. Your blog posts. The text comes from the short stories you wrote and you posted on the internet. It comes from the experiences and memories that you posted online. Then it took them and it put them in its own brain and it scrambles them up any way it likes. But the reality of it is, it didn't learn. It wasn't a creative urge that it has to like express itself the way that they want to paint this. It's not true. It scours the internet for your posts and steals them. And they have free reign to do this, except for one little exception. And we're going to get into that. And I'm going to talk about it. So yeah, topic number 1 for the evening is, how does AI steal your work? So I hope you did the search and you realized that in the paper that I gave you, that of course, it says nothing about artists, nothing about it being a tool for artists, or that it's going to revolutionize the way artists work, the way artists paint, the way artists present work at gal. None of that language is in there. All it is, there's nothing on the artist, nothing on how it impacts their livelihoods. And more importantly, they don't address the appropriation of your work. And that's right, I'm saying your work. And just so that you understand what I'm saying, DeviantArt used to be, but it still is. It's a site where people would go and show off their art. it scoured through billions and billions of people's work to train their own AIs. So it's not that the AI learned how to draw clouds in your style. It took your style. It now owns it. It can now scour. It has it in memory. And guess what? Once it's learned it, it can't be unlearned. So it can't unsteal your copyright. So that's a really fucked up thing. And I have a video that I'm going to play that I'm going to show you more about this. But yeah, let's see. There was an interesting comment here. I just saw it. Hero protagonist says, "Oh shit, I thought maybe it was from a film." No, it's not from a film. It was from an actual real presentation. Happened a few days ago, and it's quite long. I wish I had the link to this one. This is the only video I didn't have a link for. I'll have to post it like when a song's playing or something, go rush and find it. But anyway, so I'm going to play a song now, and we'll come back and I'll start giving you the, the lowdown on how they did this and how they got away with it and how music could be next, which is obviously a concern. But of course, I'm also concerned for the visual artist because I am one. I do care that people steal things. And it's not the same as someone downloading an MP3. We'll get into that later too. But anyway, let's play a song. Let's try something apropos. I'll turn on the overhead. Yeah, the UFO cam sounds good.
I can see a million
So that was automatons with the whole instrumental at the end. A little longer version, but everything is automatic. So that was if you saw the little link that I posted, and I think I'm going to put these links also when I post the video itself. I'll have a few links, and there's going to be another video we're going to play that I really want you to hear. But from that article and from the Google stats, I'm going to quote something that they say. So I'm quoting: "The data requirements of text-to-image models have led researchers to rely heavily on large, mostly uncurated, web-scraped data sets." So that term is a nuanced way of saying that they scraped all the photographs and art from 5 billion sources without any contact between the corporation that's going to use that work, and they're not compensating any of the artists or giving them royalties for stealing their work. This is also hidden with warnings that they did this for a reason that supposedly is a good reason. So I'm gonna read you what it says. In fact, I think I can I put it on screen? I don't know if I can. Maybe. Give me 2 moments. I might be able to do this. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Ooh, maybe I can. There we go. Look at that. I'm small. So I'll read. Don't read my notes. Just read the stuff. No. It's this thing right here. This is what I want to read. While this approach has enabled rapid algorithmic advances in recent years, data sets of this nature often reflect social stereotypes, oppressive viewpoints, and derogatory or otherwise harmful association to marginalized identity group. Never mentions who those groups are. And, my italics, there is no mention of a specific identity group, nor that this practice harms the most the artist or the creator. So that in and of itself, man, I'm good and bad at this, I can see. So there's no mention of artists. I went through all the different websites of the people that design these systems, and there is no mention of artists. You would think that if it was a tool, the way that it's touted as a tool, like for example, Photoshop is a tool. Go look up Photoshop and look at the stats on Photoshop on Adobe. What are you going to see? The artist, the photographer, the designer, what this tool does, who it's for, what is it going to do for the world. All these things are addressed. And although Adobe does have images that they give away, there's a royalty that's paid to the artists that actually submit those images. Adobe's not just giving it away for free. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get free images that artists gave away for free. You can go to Pexels, for example, and download art there. But the artist willingly gave up that stuff. That's like me putting a free MP3 on my website or a whole EP and saying, go grab it, which absolutely there is one there. So my point is, if I do it myself, that's fine. I want to do it. But if someone is doing it specifically to screw me over and then passing it off as their own, that's appropriation. And it's very interesting to me. So anyway, I'm admitting right here and right now that I do not profess to know everything there is to know about this subject, and I'm not a programmer. So I know there are nuances that are there, but I did find a video by a really good artist, a very professional artist, and I'm going to link his video later. But I would like you to hear him talk about the music side of this. And the reason the music side of this matters is because they were going to do the same thing with music and all the label step. This is the one time that the major labels, of course, because of this, right? Because of money. This is the one time that the major labels decided, you're going to do what? No, you're not. And put the kibosh on it. So obviously there was some legal issue there. So, there's some issue there, and we got to look at that issue. We can't pretend that, oh, it's just a tool, it's just a fad, and it's going to be like, it's not a fad. In fact, there are more data sets set to be scraping even more stuff. And the other insidious aspect of this, which, I hadn't thought of either when I was using the tool, because I tried AI stuff. So, first of all, let me clear something up. The art that you see, the art that it makes, it is absolutely stunning. It's photorealistic. It's great stuff. But it's great because it was taken from the people who did it first, who made that stuff. It's not really knowing how to draw. It's just, it remembers where it got this particular thing that you typed that you need, and it grabs it. It's not original in that sense of the word. It may be original in the way that it's compositing things, but those composites are made squarely from the work of other people. And to me, that's theft. It's not the same as like collages or things like that. It's doing much worse. And the reason I think this, by the way, and I'm going to go off my notes here for a second, but the reason that I think this is that when I make a collage, I might go through maybe 10 magazines and cut out 5 different things, which I'm going to paint over, and I'm going to do all these crazy things to it. I have nothing against collage. I've got nothing against photoshopping stuff. I do it all the time. It's part of my life. I work doing that when I make art. But the difference is I'm not taking 5 billion magazines and keeping them in my head as, quote, my own stuff. And I couldn't possibly in my entire lifetime steal them or take reference from 5 billion magazines. It's just never going to happen. The worst that could ever happen, I think, is going to be about 200 in my lifetime. So when you have one machine that has literally taken the work of 5 billion artists and decided that all of your work is mine to do as I please. The way you paint your skies, mine. The way you do your tech stuff, mine. The way you wrote that poem, mine. I can even steal whole lines. Now, it's going to cause problems because eventually, because I know that this is going to happen, eventually some lines of a poem are going to come out and someone from some obscure place is going to say, shit, I wrote that on my blog 5 years ago. Why is the AI generating poems based on my poem? I know this is going to happen. And that's when the lawsuits are going to start flying. But meanwhile, they're lobbying so that the laws can be changed so they can get away with it without paying a royalty to visual artists, without having to one day come up with restitution. And I don't know if you know this, they're raking in millions right now from all the businesses that want to sign up and use this stuff to basically replace the artists that they hire to work there. So yeah, people are going to lose their jobs. There's going to be designers out of work. The fine artists, like people like me, where I can, make something and put it on a t-shirt and hopefully sell it at a show. I'm not that worried about myself, but I am worried about all those people that like rely on that like they go to work to design things. They go to work to create characters, and their shit's being stolen. That's messed up. So, in my opinion, it's bad. So, you know, so this is, and just to give you a bit more of context, this is even worse for photographers because art is arguably more difficult to probably scour and take data sets from. But photographers, not a chance that the AI has any trouble grabbing like the best skies from the best black and white photographer of all time, but then scouring all the people that are influenced by him, all the people that those people influenced, and basically stealing all their photographs so that I can type in black and white sunny day in Paris with a woman in a beach ball and a panda. And there it is, taken from all these different artists, stolen, and put together just for me. I don't feel comfortable doing it, so I'm not going to be using it. I used it a little bit in the beginning to try stuff out. None of that stuff I've minted, by the way. And I'm not going to mint shit like that. And I'm not buying it. I'm not going to collect it. That's just my opinion. I don't always get to be an asshole, but when I am, man, I can be an asshole. So I'm not digging it. So, you know, coming from the background of being in a band that hasn't seen a penny in royalties from the record company we were on, with the same type of stipulations in place where you don't get paid for your labor, it's messed up, and it doesn't bode well. And by the way, this is why I'm even more bullish on decentralization and the blockchain, because we can end that stuff. We can just say no to it, and we can form our own economies using our own type of money and avoid this crap. So that's one way to fight it. But the other way is going to be to resist using it. Artists have to stop using it. So anyway, I'm not sure that that's going to happen, but we have to take the fight directly to these corporations. Of that, I'm sure. So anyway, I think it's time to play a song. I know you guys are like, what the hell is he talking about? Sometimes we have to talk about difficult subjects. What am I playing here? Oh, yeah. This is a song from NEP. I won't even talk about this. We'll talk about it when I come back. Down. Everything is turning black. Another minion on my back. A fallen puppet, I don't care. Only cross me if you dare. Everything is down. No fancy adjectives, just down. No candy coating, it's just down. No metaphors, it's simply down. My strings are cut and it's not fair. My lungs heave emptiness, not air. Without a shelf I have no push. A fucking corpse, a burning bush. Everything is down. No fancy adjectives, just down. No candy coating, it's just down. No metaphors, it's simply down. ominous song. Although, just to lighten things up a bit, that song was written backstage when I played with OMD. Believe it or not, that was when it was first written, backstage. Um, but let's see. I'm looking at the chats. So, that's funny, Lalo. AI equals absolutely insidious. Um, Konstantinos. That's clever. But oh no. So the AIs that generate all this so-called creative work are really like anything boxes. Gosh, no. I hope no one ever asks me if I got that name based on AIs. I'll like punch them. But so let's see. Back to my notes because I'm going to play a bit of a video in a minute. So again, this puts me in this position where I really think I'm going to push blockchain and, decentralization ever more because this is a really scary thing. You have to understand that the research I did, I couldn't believe half the stuff I was reading because at first I was like, no, it's just a tool, man. It can't be that bad. It can't be what they're doing with it. It can't really be that bad. And I found out it really is that bad. Worse, in secret. And when I say in secret, it's basically like they're telling businesses, you'll never have to hire those crazy artists again. You'll never have to have, some, moody, blah, blah, blah person. You'll just be able to talk to this thing, tell it what you want. It'll generate it, blah, 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 blah. Like this is the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But in person, it's a tool. It's going to revolutionize things. What is it going to revolutionize? Really? What? That robots can make art? That's cool. I'm not opposed to robots making art, but make your own damn art. You learn how to draw really your way. Leave all the stuff alone. And you are not allowed to use our data sets. In fact, we should be suing these companies for having allowed those data sets to be used. Which, by the way, it goes back to that whole thing about decentralization. Remember when Facebook was in Congress because they had sold all our data to outside parties? Well, there's an example of the data they sold. They sold your photographs. They sold your artwork. And I'd love to say I'm going to go back to Facebook and take down all the paintings I ever posted, which is a sad thing because I like people to see these things. But although I have that feeling of like wanting to do that, what good would it do? It's already stolen. It's too late. 5 billion. They're gone. So what's interesting is that I was reading about AI for music. And so, there are some tools out there for music and some of them are cool. So, music AI tools, the way that I envision them, started to come out where, for example, I used to have this saying, you can't take the sugar out of a baked cake, because reality, you really can't. So that used to be a comment that I would make when friends of mine would say, how do you take the vocals out of an album or out of a song? And I would be like, you can't, because you can't take the sugar out of a baked cake. Okay. That was then. Now, there are AIs that can separate the vocal from a track and do it quite well. In fact, one of the engines that I used recently, because I needed to, was quite good at it. And it got even better within the last few days. I can't believe how good it got. So yeah, it's able to remove vocals and stem out music. So yeah, I can do remixes of things that before was kind of impossible. So that's fun. I consider that a tool. If I sang a bum note in a recording and there's an AI, for example, that says, hey, I can correct that for you, that's a tool. But if an AI was studying my singing style and the timbres of my voice and applying that to a model so that later you could type, give me a synth pop song in the vein of anything box. And yeah, I want Claude S singing on it. And it produces that without my permission. That's not a tool. That's where it doesn't become a tool anymore. And it's not like we can stop it from happening. It's sort of like it's gonna happen if we don't stop it. So it's, in other words, we have to start early, because if we don't, it's too late. So on the music side, this is what I found interesting. So I think what I'll do is I'll play the video. Hold on, because the video is really good, and I'll chime in on the video. Hold on, it's not this one. Oh, I'm still here. So before I play it,
the dance diffusion problem. There is an egregious double standard pertaining.
Pause it. Yes. So, dance diffusion. What is dance diffusion? Dance diffusion is the same people that created the text-to-image models, but applying it to music. The idea is, just like the text-to-image models, you'll be able to go in and say, I need a house track at 124 BPMs in the style of Depeche Mode, using samples from, industrial bands, that kind of thing. And it'll generate a song for you. In time, including a vocal. It's crazy shit. So obviously that does, pinch a nerve. But what was interesting about the way that they went about it, they knew the music industry would have a crazy reaction to this, because if you remember, the music industry had a crazy reaction to MP3s and streaming. So they're not going to play that game again, right? So they jumped all over their shit, basically. So I'm going to play the video, and we'll listen together. And if you want to ask me a question, I can pause the video, we can talk, or we can watch the whole thing. It's only 4 minutes, but we're going to watch it together so you get an idea of what's happening here. So this is about dance diffusion, and he's going to talk about the very difference. And he's, I say he, let me give him proper credit here, because the guy's name is Steven Zapata, and he's a professional artist. You're going to see him draw like an amazing picture as he's talking about this, by the way. And I hope I don't get dinged for taking this much of the video, but I wanted to showcase his conversation. So I'm not attempting to, steal other people's work. I just want you to see what he talked about. And I would seek out this video, and I'm going to post the link. But listen to this.
The dance diffusion problem. There is an egregious double standard pertaining to how these systems handle visual art versus other creative industries. Take the glaring example of dance diffusion, the upcoming AI music tool coming from a team within Stability AI, the makers of text-to-image model Stable Diffusion. Let me read to you from an article describing how dance diffusion is trained. Quote, dance diffusion is also built on datasets composed entirely of copyright-free and voluntarily provided music and audio samples.
Okay, let me stop that right there. So for an even simpler version of what he's talking about there, basically the music industry said, sure, you can make your fancy schmancy AI software, but you can only use it if the samples are open source, not curated, non-artists, nothing from our label, nothing from master tapes, only free samples. And that's still a lot. I want you to know that that's still a lot of stuff. So to give you an idea, before we continue listening, of the amount of samples that they already have, I'm going to just tell you. They have 4,400,000 samples of glitch and sound stuff. Some some songwriter recordist gave up 190K worth of piano samples, 580K of different projects, and then some unlocked recording data sets of about 140,000 pieces. So it's very small. It's a very small number compared to the 5 billion visual things that were stolen, because they got their hands slapped before they started. Do you get the picture here? Do you get the double standard? So let's listen.
Because diffusion models are prone to memorization and overfitting, releasing a model trained on copyrighted data could potentially result in legal issues. In honoring the intellectual property of artists, while also complying to the best of their ability with the often strict copyright standards of the music industry, keeping any kind of copyrighted material out of the training data was a must. And
so what he's saying is, in their paper, the system, the people that designed these systems are saying that they knew that they would get slapped with lawsuits if they curated using copywritten materials. So they stayed away from places like Spotify or, websites and things like that for fear of being sued. That's what it means. That's the legalese there. They're afraid that record companies and artists would sue them. But they didn't do that for the visual artists, did they? They didn't do it for the photographers, did they? They didn't do it for the illustrators, did they? They didn't do it for the poets and the writers, did they? They did it for the musicians, because the musicians, in this case, I got to give them a pass, have all these labels and performance agencies that look out for them, at least looking out for their own profits, I would say. But still, someone, unbeknownst to me, at least is protecting some of my assets in this way. So I find that interesting. But let's keep listening.
quote, "If you think you couldn't have heard what you just heard, go back and listen again. The fact that such a baffling double standard exists within the product suite of a single AI company makes it hard to imagine any explanation other than bad faith towards visual artists and the callous belief that it's okay to trample them in particular because they are less inclined towards self-defense and litigation than other industries, i.e. music. I want you to imagine swapping the word music in that paragraph with the word art instead. Would that really be so crazy? Does that suggest that I am a fearful Luddite who is simply resisting change? I don't think so. I think most sane people would see that honoring the intellectual property of artists is a logical thing to extend to visual artists, not just musicians. Next, I want you to imagine that we're in the past, let's say 10 years in the past, and the text-to-image generators have not yet hit the scene. What if you learn that someone was planning to make one of these systems? Let's assume you took them seriously, and they vowed to abide by the judicious guidelines we just read. It's going to be made with copyright-free and voluntarily provided art pieces. I imagine you would think that was the most utterly sane and logical way to make and release one of these systems, wouldn't you? Now imagine that after hearing this, someone floats the idea of instead making one by trawling the internet for billions of images and vacuuming up millions of pieces of hard-made art with no consent, no compensation, and no way to remove this work from the model once trained on it. Don't you think that plan would seem, clearly, insane and unethical from your lucky position on the timeline, that is to say, before the release of such an aberrant program? The fact that we are living in a reality where someone did make the latter without receiving any permissions or offering any compensation to those generating the art on which the system is trained, and then rushed to release it before anyone could catch up with their misdeeds, doesn't mean it's any less unethical or plainly crazy. I think many of the naive assumptions about AI can be revealed if we only imagine how we would have hoped these systems would be handled in a reality where we took their potential seriously before they were made and released.
So, yeah, damn straight. So I'm going to link the video, and I really hope you watch the whole thing because he handles all the different arguments. Now, I'm not 100% convinced because of the way that they appropriated the art stuff. I'm not 100% convinced that they were that much less shady. Major labels take note of the way that they took the samples. Now, I can see the arguments of some people saying, well, it's sort of like sampling, isn't it? So, yeah, it is, but it's not. Let's explore it. When most artists, sorry, I'm reading from my notes and I'm trying to say it without reading, but it's difficult. So I'm just going to read my notes. It's a little easier on the eyes too. So when most artists sample images or bits of music, it is as reference material. There's exceptions, of course. There's rap artists who sample whole songs and create an offshoot of that song, but those songs are paid for. They pay for it. Why? Because when sampling first started, people were sampling stuff willy-nilly and releasing, half bits of songs, and that got into litigation with, artists were litigating, and then laws changed. So we have sampling laws. So yeah, you can take short little snippets here and there as long as they're masked and that the reference material can't be found. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing is, of course, you can say, hey, I love your song. I'm going to take the whole riff. I'm going to make a song out of it. So I'm going to pay you X amount of money. That's another thing you can do. Third, you can go to a site where the samples are royalty free and grab them because an artist donated those. And that's fine. But nowhere in there is it stealing from 5 billion people and then trying to pass it off as original, because that's where it kind of gets into this weird gray area, So, look, I'm a samplist. I sample everything. I sample the outside world. I sample stuff off radio. I sample crazy amounts of stuff. You will never find where they came from. I manipulate them to the point where they're gone. And those data sets, I couldn't even call them data sets. I can't even go back and have a folder where I could say, oh, I got these from a news program. I won't even remember because I've manipulated so much that it's gone. Now, if I was going to sample a song or a riff from a song, I would more than likely ask for permission. I wouldn't just do it. So there's that side. But again, in my entire lifetime, I may have accumulated like drum samples, for example. Yeah, I have about 40,000 because I've sampled machines, made my own snare drums, all kinds of stuff. But let's just say that my total number of samples is 70,000. Let's just say that that's how many I have. Well, that's not 5 billion pieces of music that I have, right? And they're just tiny little snippets. The difference is I can't take all those snippets and recreate Black Celebration just because I want to. Nor should I. So, so there's a, I don't know. It's a weird thing, man. Like they're going into these weird gray areas on purpose because, yeah, I get it. Okay, so says, my husband just brought up the notion that memes are a pretty gray area as well. No. So they're not a gray area. There's a legal basis for memes, and I'll explain. Memes are acceptable because it's called fair use. You're taking a celebrity, a piece of a movie or whatever, and you're adding a funny element to it or an insulting one, whichever of the two, but they're meant to be funny. And it's basically a parody. And technically speaking, so long as the meme is not like scouring through billions of sites for, people's Instagram accounts, it's not so much of a gray area. Now, if a meme was designed that it was going to go into a specific account and steal photographs from it, that's when it would become an issue. And then that creator can say, I never consented to you taking my photographs. But celebrities, politicians, newspapers, that kind of stuff, it's pretty much accepted that just like collage, you're going to cut out a piece of a magazine, stick it on a piece of canvas and put some paint on it. And you're not saying this is the news thing. It's some work I made that's a derivative of it, or I'm making fun of something. As long as you're making fun of something and it's really short, it's not a big deal. Like stealing a snare drum is another example. I still say stealing, but it's not. If you sample a snare drum that happens to be isolated, so long as you're not recreating the same song with that snare drum and it's like in it out of its context and no one can tell, you're fine. So I think that, that's where it kind of gets into a gray area. That's, I would say, not so many shades of gray there. So, which is why you can have parody accounts, for example, on Twitter and make fun of public figures, because you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to just make fun of people and it's not a big deal. It's considered a comedic thing. So as long as it's done under parody, you can say it. But an AI stealing 5 billion artists' work, recombining it, and then saying, it's yours, but it's not really yours. We're going to get into that topic too, because that was the third topic of the night. There's more things to discuss on that level. So anyway, let's play a song. I've talked long enough. Let's see. What do I got? What did I bring to the table today? Yeah, we played that. Yeah, we played that too. One from the diary. Ooh, snap. This one's called Humanity. I'm going to play it. It's all dark stuff tonight. You can tell where my head's at. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? A Sunday is lost, moving through atmosphere, making up time. There is no time, no dear. All of you and all of me. All of you and all of me. Maybe I'm lost, maybe I found a way. All the wayward roads that I've had to face. All of you and all of me. All of you and all of me. alone and raised. All of you and all of me. All of you and all of all of you and all of me. 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 That was from the diary, the 7 Sleepless Nights. I still have to put that on Bandcamp. I forgot. I have a lot of work to do, man. So, off the topic. Oh no, it's not happening again, is it? Come on. Oh shit, it's the record. It's funny. There it goes. Time for a drink. I forgot it actually ends like that. I forget my own stuff because I record so much stuff now. You guys have no idea. I've been recording a lot of strange things. Just like off-kilter stuff while I'm trying to finish one record and work on a different one that I've been working on for like the last 2 months. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming. Obviously the the distraction for the week was researching on this AI stuff because it does affect me. But by the way, so that leads right into what you were asking, Lalo, and I just noticed. Carlos on YouTube says, Claude, I'm trying to open my NFTs on Kukai wallet and it just shows a question mark. If you mean that the NFTs themselves show as question marks, I'm not familiar with Kukai wallet, but it could be that the images aren't indexing at the moment, because the images that are in the wallet are like the tiny ones, And it could just be that it's just not indexing them, and also make sure that you're logged into your wallet. But I don't know why that would happen. But when you see it on your wallet, it's called image indexing. So you could probably hit them up and ask them why they're not showing up there. It would show that you still have them, obviously. So as long as there's a question mark, it just means that they're not indexing at the moment. Sometimes the blockchains can be slow in indexing things. So that's all I think. I don't think there's anything really seriously wrong. Oh, I'm on that camera. I'm on that one. I forget, there's 3 cameras in here. Actually 4 now. But the 4th one I had to use for something else, so I kind of set it aside. And I'm babbling. But anyway, I am going to get back on topic in a second. But I did want to give you an update. So the album, yeah, it's slow work because I'm at the end. The minute I get to the end is where all the self-doubt and all the crazy shit starts to happen, man, where you're like, is this the right amount of songs? Did I make a mistake here? And you start kind of second guessing yourself, but I'm over it. I heard it 2 days ago and made notes. And surprisingly, my notes were like tiny little things. They were not like major upsets. It was just like, just go back, add this here, fix this one thing here, and then you're ready for mastering. There are a few things that I have to iron out. But it has more to do with logistics, because this one is going to go on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff, as well as Bandcamp, as well as the CD, as well as the cassette. So that's next. I get to coordinate all that soon. Although next week I begin rehearsals for the shows, unless you're living under a rock and you're not following me anywhere, or I didn't mention it. I am playing San Antonio on the 22nd, and I'm playing El Paso on the 25th, and in Merwin. Oh my God, Berwyn. I can't even say it right. Berwyn, Illinois. It'll be a first. It's my first time there. But Berwyn, Illinois on the 3rd. And I got a show in February that's closer to home. But I can't announce that one just yet, but I will soon. Closer to the San Diego side. So thank you. I can't wait. Actually. So seriously, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, even here. And especially tomorrow when I post a video, just tell me what you want to hear. And I will put it on my set list, hopefully. Go for the moon. You never know what you're going to get. So let's try to make it fun and do some crazy shit, man. So anyway, oh God, I want to go to the Northeast. You kidding me? I'm like dying to tour the entire country. Let me put it to you that way. I would just get in a bus and tour the entire country. Like I would start that on January and just, I don't know, go everywhere. So maybe that'll happen. Maybe that'll have to happen. Who knows, right? But anyway, yeah. So no, the update on the album is it's there, and I'm actually quite happy with it. I am. I really, really am. But at the same time, I'm also working on a different record, which is really interesting. I'm gonna get that out of the way too, because there was an EP that I was working on for a while that I made a really big mistake, and I don't want to explain the entire technicals behind it because it was a weird thing to start with. I basically recorded an entire EP in a day, but it was done straight to disc. There was no tracking involved, which was a mistake, because I think what I should have done in this case, I should have opened a stereo channel for all the instruments coming in, at least, and done a vocal channel so that at least I could go back and make corrections. That's all I would have done. But no, I did it live, and I did the entire thing live from beginning to end. And yeah, I made mistakes. So some of those mistakes, I thought I could just edit them because it's a strange record, man. And yeah, some can be fixed. Some really it requires more work. And so this is one of those cases where these new AI algorithms that separate stems is great because now I can go back to that record and basically take all the vocals out, maybe re-sing a line or make a correction here and there, and then put it back together again. So that's something I'm kind of working on the side. Um, but so Manuel, how do you feel about Twitter selling? I wished I owned it, but I can't afford it. So I think it's going to be chaotic for the next couple of weeks, but I'm definitely happy to see different opinions being heard. And I'm happy to see people being fact checked that before weren't fact checked, that deserve to be fact checked. So I like the idea that fact checking may actually work in both directions now. So I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic. I'm even optimistic about the whole AI thing because I think we're going to sue the pants off of people and they're going to scale back or have to pay some royalties. So I always take the high road of it's going to work out, even though in the beginning it may be really rough. So I try to stay positive about all those things. I'm not anti Elon Musk. I'm not. So that doesn't mean I'm a big fan either. It's sort of like, I think the intentions are good. We'll see where it leads. That's all I'm going to say about that. But, so, oh yeah. I'm going to be near San Diego. So, let's see. Where were we? Oh, that's right. Wait, what was that? Topic number 3. Wait, let me go back up for a second. Interesting. Yeah, we're on that topic already. Wow. So this is something funny that I ran across. I'm not going to mention the person because it's someone I know, so I don't want to like embarrass them in any way. But I've seen this on a couple of different artist sites now. I know a particular artist that is doing a lot of stuff, which is 100% text prompt, meaning he's typing in the text prompts in DALL-E or, the other one, Midjourney and all that stuff. And then when he has his painting, he puts it on his Instagram or his Facebook and he says, copyright 2022 by his name. And I think he didn't understand the memo. When you type a text prompt to generate art from an AI site, they own that text prompt. They have just taken your copyright ability away from you. You can't copyright that which you gave away. You give that up by typing in the text prompt. So once you've made the text prompt, they own it. And when it generates the images, yes, you can download it. Yes, you can post it. Yes, you can sell it, but you can't copyright it because everyone else is allowed to go there and download the same images from other artists who have used the text prompts. So that begs the question, how can it be original if I just wait for someone to do a text prompt and then I use the same text prompt and then basically post the art that they made and say, but this is the text prompt I gave it. So it's going to cause some weird things to happen where an artist is going to say, I made that text prompt. I was the one who made that. And someone's going to say, no, I saw it on the timeline. I thought it was a good idea and I made my own. And it looks a little different than yours. Mine's wearing a red hat. Yours is wearing a blue hat. Notice what I did there? They're different. Are they? I don't think so. So yeah, don't be fooled that you can create something with an AI generating app and then call it your own. No, you technically can't. You can say you did the text prompt, and while the text prompt is clever, I actually don't see that it's going to lead to general. So I'm going to give you a really good example of this. Although I don't have it here, you could see it, but it's just one that I think you should see. So where is it? No. Oh, that's what I was going to say. What I'm looking for is I'm going to find eventually there's going to be an artist somewhere that's going to recognize his or her cloud formations or his or her, futuristic cities or robot faces or anime and say that was exactly mine. That is a direct rip, because here's the difference. This goes back to the sampling question. I'm clever. I know, or I'd like to think I'm clever. I know that if I went and sampled, let's say, a Led Zeppelin riff, I know they're not stupid. I know that reversing it alone isn't going to hide that sample, or pitching it up or down. That's not going to hide the sample. Even if I chop up the sample, let's say that I take a Led Zeppelin riff and I chop it into 64 pieces and I play them randomly, someone can re-chop my chop and put it back together and determine that this was the exact thing that I took. No one's stupid. But AI is not that smart. It doesn't know from the immense data sets that it took, hey, that data set of clouds, I'm just using it because that fits the text prompt. Because it picks from, who knows, 10 million. So it's like playing the lottery. Someone's going to get the winning ticket that goes, those are my clouds. I posted that on my Instagram. How the fuck did this thing get it and make art out of it? And that's where we're going to start to see some pushback. That's what I think. So I think that's where we're going to find that, the word for original, anyway. So anyway, this thing about originality, it's an interesting question. Well, we're going to get into originality in a minute, because that was part of the discussion, is how to be original. And it seems like this is going to make this question harder to answer. So, let's play a song. I'm going to play this one from because I happen to have it handy. So I'm doing another one from the diary. So this is the extended version or odd version of Monsters. And I think I did this one as a web only thing. So I don't know how it's going to sound, but we're going to find out. Here we go. Because I did not vet this from my own, quote, data set. So it could be really bad. It could be the worst thing I ever played. Oh no. Oh no. Play.
I think it's time for you and me to wake up. Get up, get up, get up. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. Get up, get up, get up. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. 'Cause nothing's getting better. The monster sleeping under your bed. up the hooligans hanging round your head. To take control and seize your heart, you lose yourself before you start. I think it's time for me to walk, but not before I've said it all. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. 'Cause nothing's getting better. Give up the monsters breathing under your skin. Give up the facts and figures, it's just all in vain. You will never seem to find, and I will never quite define who can say what all this is. 'Cause when you die, you won't forgive. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. 'Cause nothing's getting better now. I will see you in the end. I don't want to lose again. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. I think it's time for you and me to wake up. 'Cause nothing's getting better now. 'Cause nothing's getting better now. 'Cause nothing's getting better. Give up the monsters. Give up the monsters. Get up. You wake up.
Ha! I know what mix that was. That's the unfinished one. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, this is the shorter version of the extended. Huh, funny. Well, there you go, Mai. You got to hear one that was out there. So, nice. Okay. That's why it sounded weird to me. So, if you are just joining us, this is a stream that I started in 2020 when we were all under lockdown, and somehow it survived all this time. I don't know how. I honestly don't know how it survived, but it has survived. And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting journey. So, as it says, subscribe, and hit that bell, even though I'm not a YouTuber, but I'm trying to get to 10,000 before the end of the year. I'm so close. I'm so close. But even so, it's fun. It's fun to do these things, and I'm getting a little bit more comfortable doing them than I was before. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know how bad it was before, but it's pretty bad. So I'm going to explore this question. This, you know, this is now heading away from the AI thing a little bit. But there was a question that I was asked of, like, what makes you an original, or what makes someone an original? And I'm going to explore this question because it applies to all forms of things, like art, writing, poetry, you know, whatever it is, sculpture, whatever you're into. you want to know that you're an original. And what makes an original? What does it mean to be an original? I don't even know if I can claim that myself, but let's just say that I kind of know what that is. So I'm going to ask you, if you're part of are you part of a collective? Or are you a being experiencing creation as an individual with others experiencing creation alongside you? Now, this is not about God, though I'm not going to mind telling you that I believe there is one, but we can leave that debate for another day. I'm putting that part aside. But even if you're an atheist, the question still applies. Are you an individual? Do you consider yourself an individual? So my own experience answers that question a little easier. For me, that part is an easy answer. I am an individual. Doesn't mean I don't get influenced, but I look definitely within more than outside to get the work done. And so to me, that's more important than, looking to see what people are doing. So, you can bet that if X type of drum loops are out, those are the ones I'm not going anywhere near. In fact, I don't even buy drum loops. So when it comes to certain things about music and the way that I approach music or the way that I approach art, I consider it to be original when I'm going against the grain. Now, not purposely against the grain, because then you're not being original either. You're just following a different crowd that goes against the grain. I mean, going against all grains. So, I would say that the first sign that that you found your own voice and that you're on your own journey, whether it's music, art, whatever it is, you have to, and even if you don't know who you are yet, or even if you do, even if you know who you are and you know what you like, you have to begin accepting that you have your own voice, your own journey, and that it's never going to end until you die. Meaning the journey just doesn't hit a pinnacle where you're like, now I know. Look at all the people that are successful and are miserable. They'll reach for a certain, let's call it a flashpoint. And once they reach it, they're still not satisfied. It's really about taking the time to enjoy the journey of discovery, being yourself, and that's how you become original. So here's a place to start, because someone mentioned Depeche Mode. So Depeche Mode exists. Picasso exists. You are not them. You are not meant to be them. They already are them. You can love them. You can want to emulate them, of course, but you are not them. You are you. And that's the hardest aspect of being an artist. The artist always wants to seek comfort, from within, and we won't get that. The artist will do almost anything not to do the work, because looking in brings in the fear. If I do this thing and I am myself, I will be judged as myself. And that is really fucking scary. People will get really sorry. I thought this was a rated G thing. But people will get, artists will get really, really fearful of someone really knowing their true self. But who do we like the best as artists? The artists that are the truest to themselves. That's why we love people like Bowie. That's why we love Prince. That's why we love Depeche Mode. That's why we love Kraftwerk. At least I do. These are people that stick to their own value system, their own thing. They don't follow the trends of everyone. And I think that when you do that, when you're able to disconnect from what the entire world is doing and look inward, that's when you find the original. Like who is this? So how to be different is actually quite easy. Have unique experiences. So here's what not to do. So, because that was another topic we were going to talk about, is how to be mediocre. Because just as much as I can teach you how to be original, I can tell you how to be mediocre. This is a funny one, but let's say you're a photographer and you want to be a really good photographer. So there's a photography conference coming up. Don't go. Don't go to the conference. That is how you become mediocre. You're going to be there with 2,000 other photographers looking at lenses, looking at techniques, watching the people that made it with all their success, telling you how hard it is and how you have to do this, and this. Don't go. Instead, grab your camera, put it in your car, go somewhere you've never gone before. And if the conference was going to last 3 days, then book yourself a hotel in the strangest place you can think of for 3 days with your camera, and maybe take a lens that you've never used before on top of this. That is going to make you a better photographer. That is going to make you an original photographer, because all the mistakes you make and all the interesting things that you do to do the work, that is what's going to keep you ahead of the game from everyone who went to the conference and then posts the picture of their sunset that they were taught how to take at the photography class, which then, of course, if you look it up on Google Images, you'll see a million other sunsets that look exactly like that, and there's nothing original about it. Shit, you shouldn't even take pictures of the sunset anymore because we don't need to. Just look it up. There's great ones. You don't need to take pictures of sunsets. Look in. Look inward. And then when you've looked inward and you're like, damn, I'm feeling a lot of pain from all these social things going on, or man, I'm really happy because I've discovered this one facet of life in this tiny little town that nobody knows about. Go photograph that. Photograph that. And that's if you're a photographer. Same thing applies to music. Same thing applies to art. Same thing applies to poetry. Get away from conferences. Get away from watching endless tutorials on YouTube on how to become a better writer and all that crap. You can be forgiven for doing it once a week if you really want to learn. I like learning stuff on YouTube, so I don't mind that. But when it consumes you and you're not actually producing work, that means you're becoming mediocre. You're not becoming an original. You're becoming mediocre. So, and what you're going to find out, this is something else I'm going to say about this subject, because this is a dear subject to me. Because I want to help all the young ones like really get their strength and their confidence up. So when you make mistakes, let's say that you do the thing I said, you did book the 3 days in some strange hotel in some strange little town, and you took a bunch of photos and you realized all the photos that I like the best are these weird photos where I accidentally had my hand in front of the lens and it's covering half the lens with my hand, but I really love them. For some reason, they speak to me. Do more of those. Do it on purpose. Now you found something you really like that caught your eye of your own work. Go with that, because that's where you find your voice. It's not going to be just emulating other people. And it's most definitely not going to come from doing text prompts and being shown a photograph that was taken by some of the most famous photographers in the world that was stolen from them and then represented as an original photograph from an AI. That's only going to depress you. And you're going to be like, man, I'll never take pictures like that. Thank God. Thank God you're not going to take pictures like that. You shouldn't have to. The whole idea of photography, visual art, music is self-expression. You got to look in, man. You have to look in, and then you can express the out. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I'm not looking at the chat right now because I'm afraid to see what I might see there. What, you think I don't feel insecure once in a while? I do. Of course I do. But I know the game. And the game is I have to get up and work on this keyboard, on my writing, on my drawing, no matter what happens. And when I fail at that, I get more mad. Understand what I'm saying here. I get more angry at myself if I don't do the work than I do if someone says, dude, that drawing sucks. I couldn't care less. I don't care if people like the stuff. I don't care if people buy the stuff. What I care about is I love it and I love making it. And that's where you find originality. So, you know, so we'll get back to this. So I'm going to play you one of the surprise songs now. Because you've been so nice. At least I think you've been nice. Yeah, that's right. So Mai says, I am unapologetically me. When I strive to be the best me, I can have a positive effect on others around me and help them be the best them. So that's exactly right. Exactly right. Passion mixed with, yep, exactly. Snakebite 210 on YouTube says, passion mixed with technique. Yeah, but it takes experiences. So a lot of it, you know, you want to find it online, and I find that to be sort of worrisome, even for me. Look, I know what it's like. Sometimes you don't want to leave the house. You're just like, I'm stuck on my tablet. I'm stuck on the computer, or I just want to be in Starbucks with my computer and just stare at shit all day long. I find that in the long run, that isn't going to help. You need to get out and have experiences with other people. You know, I would say do a meet up with 2 or 3 different people and like draw together. Like that would be fun, man. Like go old school. We're going to have to start going old school anyway, you know? So, all right. I'm going to play a song now. Shoot. So this one is a really strange thing. So I'm going to play this song because, we're getting close to the end. And I promised I was going to play 2 songs that are more on the obscure side. And do I have it? Uh-oh. Yes, I do have it. Okay. So this song that I'm going to play is a demo. I like playing like old shit sometimes when I'm on this thing. Oh my God, I just swore again. I promised I wasn't going to swear tonight, but this is what happens when I have the anger streak, see? So this song, I found it on a VHS tape this week, and I started to put that show together. I actually don't know if I'm going to stream it. I was informed that this is one of those things I should probably charge for people to see because it's so weird. It's basically the second show that Anything Box ever played. So it's really rough around the edges. All the songs there are unknowns with the exception of one that at the time was new. So the song I'm going to play you today, I took off the VHS and cleaned it up a little bit, but it's actually quite interesting. And I had forgotten about it. But it's pretty fast too. It's about 140. But anyway, so this song coming off VHS tape, because that's what we do here, is called 4 + 4 + 4 + 7. And I'm going to play that. Turn on the overhead because I'm in that mood. Ay. I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly. Oh, it's the moon. Oh, it'll fit. There we go. the 10 people that were there applauded, because literally there was nobody there. It was literally our second show ever. I really think there was less than 15 people at that show. And so that's why I say I don't think anyone has ever heard this song or anything, you know. Oh, 19 is important. So yeah. So I forgot about a lot of the songs that were on that set. And what's interesting, it's almost embarrassing, but I painted the stuff we wore. So both of us wore like matching hand painted stuff, and I had hand painted all our clothes and everything. So it's kind of crazy to see it. I watched the whole thing. It was really interesting, and I transferred it. But like I said, it's going to take a lot for me to want to show that to anybody. So we'll see how that pans out. So Frank on YouTube asks a really good question here. Isn't AI driving cars a force for good? It learns from all other drivers, but it will drive safer than us eventually. I would say that there's truth to that statement, or some degree of truth. So yeah, self-driven cars and, you know, buses and things of that nature, I could say that that's a good use case for AI. However, we have to be careful as to giving it the keys to the kingdom, because it could also shut off your car. And that to me goes into this whole weird narrative about CBDCs, you know, like say the wrong thing, don't follow this particular political ideology, and we can turn off your car too. Your car won't drive you to work. Your car will be useless. So long as the government and the state doesn't get into our business, meaning it doesn't get into our car, I would say that AI can be a good thing, and it could be a force for good, but it can also be a force for direct and awful evil. So in the case of cars, I can give it the benefit of the doubt, but for the art thing, I can't, because what they've done already shows bad faith. They've screwed artists over, 5 billion of them. And the way that they've done it is really sneaky. So I don't blame the machine. Obviously not. It's the humans who program the machines, but it's too late. It's done it. So that sort of, you know, yeah, right? AI is not good at responding to outliers. Number one. I am like the worst. I can make AIs pissed off really easy. I love having conversations with them, by the way, because I like pissing them off. They're all just robots to me. You know, so yeah, again, I think you're right. Humans are too dynamic for AI. I like the second part of your comment there, but I'll keep that one to myself. Uh-oh, what happened to the Lakers? Did they lose? So I prefer to have AI to not be in control of anything. So I will be one of those outliers to the bitter end that will not use it for, you know, I'm not going to generate text prompts or do any of that stuff. Yeah, that's fine, Byron. I'm definitely interested, and that's very amazing of you. I don't even know how that even happened, but I want to know more about this. But yeah, so it's time. So I'm going to close with a something new, but I wanted to sorry. Get rid of all this stuff. I've got so many windows open that it's not funny. So I'm going to give you the last piece of advice on the whole originality thing, because it was part of the topics, and I wanted to end off on this one because this particular thing is tough for some people to take, but you got to have tough love. So because I love artists. I love musicians. I love writers, poets, sculptors. This tough love that I'm about to give you is important. So I want you to take heart to what I'm saying. Once you're aware that your work is original, meaning that you like your own work and it's original, and you know you are different, people won't like you. So you should accept it right now. Take it in. I'll say it again. When you are different, when you act different than what the status quo is doing, people will not like you. You need to wear it like a badge of honor. It's very different, though, than insisting that people like you. That's troublesome, and I see it a lot in politics and art. Do not insist that people must like your stuff. You can insist that you like it, and you can insist that you don't follow certain trends and so forth. But do not kid yourself into thinking that guilting people to like your works will make it happen. It may work for a few minutes, but ultimately it fails. So what you want to do is be confident in your own work that you don't care. You don't care whether something sells. Do it your way. So I get asked this question a lot. So I'm going to end with this last bit and then we're done. I'll play the last song and we're out of here. Do your work your way. If it doesn't sell, you have to grapple with that question. But the answer, though, sorry, I got to look at my notes here. But the answer, though, is that you've not found your tribe yet. And, it takes less work to find a tribe than it takes to do the actual work in art. So do your work and then go looking for people that may like that work. And eventually, you're going to find that some people will like it. And it's those people you concentrate on because they're going to be your support system. I have the A-Box fam. I'm like, I can't believe that I have the A-Box fam. And I love the A-Box fam. That's you. That's you peeps. But honestly, you can build a tribe, but it's harder to build back your self-esteem once you've wrecked it. So, go forth, make things for yourself. As far as the AI question goes, fight it. Fight the urge to use the tools because remember, you're helping it steal every time you use it. So practice your own drawing. Practice. Get skilled at what you're doing. You're going to find that you will get better the more you work. And then you have more pride in your work when you work that way. That's just my 2 cents. Tell me what you think. When the video goes live tomorrow, please comment. Please have conversation. Let's keep that conversation going. I will definitely go there and answer any further questions that you may have or the comments about this whole event thing. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to turn on the moon overhead, but I'm turning off the moon bits because I'm going to turn off all the lights and everything as I exit out. It's a short song. It's 3 minutes long. It's a new one. Probably a B-side or something. It's very odd. So I will play that and I will see you next week, maybe.
Took a big chance on you. Took an ocean of worlds. Lost my number, cannot find my card. Time allotment's wrong, can you feel my heart? We'll make new memories, just like the ones they erased from you and me, with a
I'm part of it. Can't you see it?